So we are called to order at 4 minutes after 2. And first item up of business is selecting the committee chair. Janie, last year I believe that was you.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that again if you don't want it, Bonnie.
I second Janie's self-nomination.
All right. Janie has been nominated and seconded. All in favor of Janie being the committee chair?
Aye,
Aye.
All right, congratulations, Janie.
thanks.
Then that takes us up to the minutes for the May 16th meeting. Janie had sent, you had sent those out yesterday or today.
This morning.
This morning. So any questions on those? Otherwise, I would look for a motion to approve.
I so move.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Okay. And I had been hoping to get to looking through the furniture here at the start. But I'm not sure how much utility there's going to be in that if Kathy and Cal haven't joined us.
Okay.
Let me give Cal a quick call. Let me give them a quick call.
You want me to call Kathy?
Yeah, that would be great.
Aye.
As I was calling Cal, it occurred to me that she's probably still off in Greece.
Yeah, didn't she say she was gonna be gone for like 3 weeks or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kathy didn't answer her phone, so I'm sending her a text.
Okay.
And then I do have some comments on the drawings that Joe sent us, so maybe we skip over to that.
All right.
I'll be right back.
Minor technical issue in the youth services.
Oh,
Eliza's trying to put something back together and it's not going back together, apparently. Anyway, we can jump in on the plans. That would be fine. I can bring those up.
are we talking plans for the stroll room or wood building?
Wood building.
Okay, is this something that Anna and Jill should be able to weigh in on? Because they weren't invited to this meeting because it was primarily, I believe, about the stroll room furniture.
The, well, we'll take a look and we'll discuss here and we'll read them in. I know that they're occupied at the moment.
Yeah, right.
Other things.
Eric, would it be possible, I tried to find these in my downloads and I couldn't. Would it be possible for you to print me out a set of these? I could
Yes,
just,
I could.
I could pick, I'll pick them up when I stop in next.
And then, so I just glanced back at the agenda. I realize I've kind of added an item that's not officially on the agenda, but I know we also have a mechanism to add agenda items as needed.
I'm looking for the most recent plans that Joe had
Mhm.
sent me here.
I know it was in an email where Kathy said she didn't get the attachment, but I did get the attachment. I took a quick peek at them. I've got a date for you, Eric, May 19th.
Bonnie,
And
is this discussion of the plans not on the agenda that you asked us to put in? That you're asking us to Put in,
Correct.
okay.
And I can always share them. I've been able to find them.
Here we go.
Oh, you got them?
Okay.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. And I apologize. I stepped away to let my dog out of the room. Is Kathy joining us late or she's?
I was not, she didn't answer, so I
Okay.
texted her, so all I can do is hope
Okay.
that she sees it.
I thought at one point she said she might not be able to make it and, you know, whatever Cal and the team preferred in terms of,
Oh, I do remember something along those lines now.
yeah. Okay, and the other level, the second floor. So I don't know if Joe misunderstood the suggestion or if it's not possible, but you see the back wall where there are stairs between to the right of the stairs. I was thinking there could be a third quiet study room. It might be a little
Right.
smaller than the others, but it didn't, you know, it didn't translate the kind of L shape of the study rooms, or, you know, I see he's kind of opened up that corner, which was some of my feedback. But I was also thinking that there'd be a third quiet study room.
I will follow up with him on that
Thank you.
because I do recall that as well.
Okay.
Any other thoughts, comments? Not really.
I think at the next meeting where we have him, if he could walk us through some of the conflict zones that he's labeled in this document, it would be helpful for me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what we'll want to talk to Joe, but I'm wondering with that possibly smaller study room, I'm wondering if accessibility might be an issue there. We would have to probably remove at least one range of the shelves in order to make room, and even then, I'm not sure how much space would still be there, since it's a narrower corridor than the more open space that would have been taken up by the that's currently taken up by Team Fiction. But that's just my interpretation of looking at the drawings. I'm not sure if that's actually a fact.
Yeah,
Well-
the other thing I'd like to point out is if there were a quiet study room to the left of on our diagram, the topmost quiet study room, how would you get into the one in the corner? Where would you put the door?
Well, it would need to be a different shape.
Yeah,
Mhm.
It wouldn't, you couldn't make it exactly the same because then it would completely block that off.
exactly.
Um, you would have to be making a room that was narrower and thinner. Yeah, narrower and longer. That's what I meant.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it may be that it's a better place for maybe 4 carols to sit kind of facing each other rather than a room.
Mhm.
It's true too.
Yeah, I often when I'm in the library, I see those 2 carols in use that are on the first floor.
So I will follow up with Joe and engage with him about what would be possible within that space.
Mhm.
He is working on seeing what it would look like for us to get a quote so that we had some numbers to work with in terms of planning out these expenditures. So I will take a look at getting that information from him and also getting our next building and grounds set up at appropriate time thereafter so that we can discuss.
Thanks, Eric.
Hey, Kathy.
Hello, sorry I'm late, you guys.
Okay,
Our house is surrounded by Commonwealth Edison and some other kind of construction equipment, drilling,
Yeah,
crazy.
All
Oh
the
my.
blinking sawhorses.
Yes, exactly, all night long,
Mhm.
actually.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, the town got et by the construction. All right. So we did, Kathy, just to catch up in 20 seconds. We approved minutes. We approved Janie as the continued head of the committee. She is the
Oh.
once and future committee chair.
Right,
And we had discussed just a couple of quick points on the most recent schematic
Huh.
that Joe had sent. We're trying not to get too into detail on that since we don't have some of our group present for that discussion since it hadn't been on the agenda. But for the get-go, we did discuss a little bit the number of quiet study rooms on the second floor and whether it might be possible to add in a third one of a different size up on the second floor. So I'm going to follow up with Joe about that
okay.
as to whether that would be a possibility. So any questions, comments, thoughts?
So up on the second floor where it says quiet study,
Mhm.
I presume those current materials would be brought downstairs to the main level, is that? And then is it going to be tables and chairs upstairs, or is it
Mhm.
mingled among materials as well?
Well, those would be quiet study rooms, so they would be enclosed spaces.
Well, there's 2
Um,
quiet study rooms.
Yep.
But then to the left of that, it says quiet study.
Oh, yeah, no. I don't know what Joe means by that,
Okay.
but I will figure that out as well. My understanding is that's still adult nonfiction. So,
Oh, okay, all right.
because I don't know where else adult nonfiction would go.
All right, I wasn't sure if that was going down to the main level or not.
Yeah, no, I don't know where that space would be on the main level, so we should probably work that out.
Okay,
I'll ask Joe about that. Make sure we're on the
Yes.
same page.
yeah, so then I could certainly see the value of a third study room if that is not, I thought that was just all open sitting area, but if not, another study area would be wonderful, I guess.
Sounds good. All right. On that note, then we've got 2 other items for building and grounds for today. One was taking a look at the furniture, and the other is taking a look at goals. Something that we always do with the first committee meeting of each year. I would like to have us take a look at the furniture first, because that's the portion that Katie is here for. And I know Katie's got other meetings that she needs to run to. Sound good?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let me share to the right screen here so I can bring up our amazing pictures of furniture.
Mhm.
Why don't we start with the exciting stuff, the lounge chairs. So here's Big Pink.
Hmm.
I think most of us agreed that Big Pink was just too big.
And not as comfortable as the other ones.
Right.
Agreed.
Okay. I think this one got a bit better reviews.
Yeah, I found that one to be pretty comfy.
Okay.
I as well.
I would also say that of the ones that we've looked at, the width of it is probably closer to what we need in the space. It's not very wide, so it wouldn't be difficult to fit them in there. Whereas, I don't know how you would fit 4 of the pink one in there, for instance. And then we had Big Tan. So Sean did point out to me that Engberg Anderson does not usually include chairs with those swinging tables because usually people try to sit on them and they snap off pretty early in their life. So he was very much recommending against that, which is not a huge deal because the chair comes with or without. So looking at the model of chair, before I turn things over for discussion on this one, Cal did say that while she overall kind of liked this one, that she did find it hard to get in and out of because of how far back the back is, that she had to scoot until her feet were dangling. So as a taller human, I found this one, fairly sittable, enjoyable for sitting.
Well, like we said before, there's no such thing as a chair that's going to fit everybody,
Right.
real comfortably. So yeah.
I don't know what the measurements are for this particular chair. It seems like it might be a little big for the space, but I agree that it was quite comfortable to sit in. Like when I tested it out, I'm like, oh, I could spend a couple hours here with a book. But size wise, I'm not sure how well it'll fit.
I had to help move it out of the building this afternoon, so I'll tell you, we wouldn't need to anchor it. It's plenty heavy. But
I would echo Katie's comments when I sat in and I was like, oh, this is pretty comfortable. The one thing I would say is if we were to go with this chair, the wood arm is already chipped. Maybe that's why it's a sample. I don't know that I'd recommend going with a wood laminate arm.
Yeah. No, that's a good thought. Okay. And then, of course, we have our old trusty. So I put that in there as still in the running, though I do want to point out that we have the funds to get the new chairs in there and in place. So in terms of looking at what we're doing, we don't need to chop back for cost savings sake.
Can I ask a question in here?
Mhm.
Katie and Eric, what do you think about a fabric upholstered chair versus a vinyl upholstered chair like this one? I mean, there's lots of patterns in both to choose from.
I like wipeable.
Patterns.
Yeah,
Want
I was gonna
wipeable?
say I would go vinyl because yeah, I've worked in public libraries long enough to know that that the potential for spillage in many different ways is inevitable.
Wipeable is good. And they
Yeah.
do make they do make a variety of coverings now, so that it's not a choice between you know, as it was 20, 30 years ago, between fabric and something that will burn and adhere to your flesh when you sit in it. So you know, we've been kind of getting more of the vinyl furniture, including down in youth services, and they're pretty comfy.
Yeah, that being the case, I would definitely tend toward, I would, my vote would be to go with something new like this. That gray doesn't do anything for me, but there were lots of choices.
Mhm.
So once we pick the model, there is a whole world of options for the covering for
Mhm.
all of them.
Mhm.
So pretty much any of the ones that we're looking at can come as vinyl, as cloth, as a wide range of things,
Mhm.
and in a variety of coverings as well. So that is likely one of our next steps here. We did have a set of fabric swatches. I think I messaged out about this, that was dropped off by Megan of Library Furniture International for us to take a look at. But Cal did take a look through those before she headed off to Greece. So we have 2 stacks already, one that Cal found to be acceptable and one that she did not.
And I will say, Anna and I specifically did look through the fabric swatches after Cal, and we agreed with her preferences. So there was pretty much unanimous consensus there. And I will also say that other staff members who have been kind of on the peripheries of the furniture discussion have also expressed a strong preference for vinyl / a more wipeable fabric. So that seems to be the the unanimous preference.
So the preferred chair option in terms of the make looks like it's probably this gray one. Is that an accurate summary of? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
I think so.
Okay. So that is good. So we've got a final candidate there on that chair. Kathy, you haven't jumped in yet on the loungers. What are your thoughts?
I would agree with the consensus. I think that the vinyl's a better, certainly just cleaner material. The other thing I was wondering about it, and I could going back to that generation of vinyl you were talking about. Just do they give you any idea of the anticipated, I don't know, lifespan of the vinyl? Does it peel? Does it crack? Or is it a material that's just now made more durably?
My understanding is the latter point,
Okay.
that it's made much more durably now.
Okay.
But still, all worthwhile questions.
Yeah.
You know,
That would be,
things that we want to be clear on up front.
yeah, I just wondered, do the arms hold up and do the seating? Just an opinion, and if not, you know, what do we face in terms of replacement or reupholstery kind of a thing? Just a question, but I think out of them, I thought it felt fine. It actually is quite comfortable, and I certainly honored Cal's choices. So, and you know, it's good news. I still think those chairs upstairs that we're going to have cleaned have a lot of life left, and if we have some good opportunities for more space use in the future, they could come in handy. So, I'm glad we have them.
Indeed. Okay, so I'm going to jump in then on study chairs and tables. So one point up front as we get into the study chairs, one thing that LFI did point out as an option is that they do still make the model of chair that we are currently using for our study tables. And those have worked pretty well. And when I say model of chair, again, I'm referring to the shape and outline of the chair, the fabric on the back and on the seat can be whatever we would want or need it to be. It does not need to be more of the polka dots. So do keep the availability of those in mind as I scroll through here. So first up, we have this kind of wavy wood one.
So I'll jump in. Of the study chairs, this one was actually my favorite. I felt that the other ones, the fabric around the frame just seemed like it would not be durable at all. You could kind of see the fabric was stressed already before having someone sit in it. So from a sit standpoint and a looks standpoint, I actually thought this was the best study chair. Do we have a verdict from Cal on study chairs?
Cal did not voice as strong an opinion about the study chairs.
I thought there was one. I thought there was one that I was surprised that she liked or that she found easy to get in and out of. And I don't remember if it was this chair. It was not that one. I don't think anyone liked that one.
No, I think there was general agreement that that would be a weird fit.
Yeah.
That's a table. It's a table.
No bad experience.
That one?
Maybe I can't remember exactly. And I know I didn't form as strong of an opinion about the study chairs. I feel like my memory of the wooden chair was that if I was going to be using it for an extended period of time, I might appreciate a little bit of cushioning on the seat of some kind. But yeah, I didn't spend as much time in the study chairs. So ultimately, I don't have as strong an opinion on these as I do the armchairs. But if we decide to do all wood, you know, that's fine. But yeah, my personal preference would be a little bit of padding.
Bonnie, the chair that you liked, does it come with arms, and can it be ordered with upholstered with some padding on it? You know, Eric, do you know?
I think those are good questions. I felt that the arm style of the chair on the Zoom display right now would probably be a little tough to really kind of tuck it under the table. So that was just my user review, if you will, of this chair.
Yeah, I remember thinking the same thing. The other thing, and it might have been the wooden chair that Cal liked, because I may have been surprised because it didn't have arms. And I know that she said that that was a key thing to be able to get for her to get in and out of the chair. Again, I may be misremembering her part, but that was something else I noticed. I don't know if we could get that model with arms, but I'm probably inclined to lean towards the arms versus no arms for the study chair, even if it doesn't tuck in super well under the table.
I think the arms.
And I was
I
gonna say,
think the arms are optional for most of them. Sorry, Kathy, go on.
I was gonna say, if the vendor makes the table and arms, they usually probably are designed so that it'll fit underneath. It's when you start mixing and matching vendors, you have more trouble with that. But that's just sort of a general conclusion I have, but I think without having, I didn't discuss the armchairs with Cal. I would just assume that she would prefer the armchairs. And I have to say, I probably would too. If you're sitting there for a long time working and you go to stand up, it's kind of nice to have something to hold on to. I also think, and I don't know how much we're going to do this, but if the room was being used for a small meeting, these are chairs you'd want to pull up to where the upholstered chairs are for a group of 6 or so, and they just look more comfortable for that and easier to move around with the arms.
Yeah. Okay. My recollection with Cal was that she very much liked having the arms present. I can ask about the arm options and the cushion options for this one. I was looking through my phone here and I'm not seeing a picture of our study chairs, the ones that we currently have. I thought I had one to hand, but apparently I don't. But next time you're in the building, take a look at those and see what you think.
Eric, do those chairs stack?
Do they stack? No.
Okay, because I was just thinking the only thing that would sway me is if they were all stacking and that was you felt was convenient for some type of multi-purpose use. But if they don't, then it's not not useful. So
This one that's up on the screen now sure looks like it would stack, doesn't it?
yeah, I was referring to the ones we have.
Mhm.
Of adding to that design if those were stackable and that was important to the staff. But yeah, that doesn't
No.
make it.
No, those don't stack. Okay. So then are we in general agreement that are the ones that we've seen that this is probably our favorite? We just need to explore some of the options available. Does that sound accurate?
This one, so if it would come with arms, yeah, I would guess they've got all sorts of variations of pretty much everything they have, so it probably does.
We shall ask.
Correct me. I guess I was picking up that the black armed chair was preferred. But
That one.
Something about the arms not ending, not connecting to the back there, concerns me a touch structurally.
it looks like
Um,
the side does touch and the other side doesn't touch.
I think that's just the angle that the photo is taken from. And that's what made me think that maybe this chair is stackable, because that would be the only reason not to attach the arms to the back. I really couldn't tell you, but that would be my guess. But I know that when I sit down on a chair like that, I'm always hooking a pocket or something on the end of that chair,
Yeah, or if someone, shouldn't be sitting on the arms of the chair anyway, but if someone decides to put their weight on that, I don't know how well that might hold.
That's another point, yeah.
I guess my thinking in part would be that this one really just to me looks so similar to the models that we've already got, that my druthers would probably be to just, if we were looking at one of these, to go first towards one of the model chairs that we already have for our desks. We know those are durable. They've been here for 10 years with astonishingly little in the way of issues for those. The tables they're at are a completely different story. We are not getting more of the tables, but the chairs have been pretty much worry-free for the most part. So, you know, that would be my thinking on this one.
So Eric,
Though I do agree that it was a comfy sit. This one was a very comfy sit.
you're referring to the chairs in the general area where we come in, where we used to have our board meetings, right in the main floor,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
well,
I'm just gonna go take a quick picture. They're right outside my door.
But most of us have sat in those chairs for hours on end without any discomfort.
Yeah, I agree, Kathy. I think they are very comfortable, and I'm pleasantly surprised to hear that they've been in the library for 10 years because they are in good shape.
Yeah, yeah.
And it certainly makes sense from a design standpoint, not to introduce something different again, since the space is so small.
Right. I had actually taken pictures of the chairs as well when I sat in them, but I think I deleted the study chair ones. I think I had a different angle on this chair. I can't find it right now. I found them. There is actually another chair. I don't know if you'll be able to see that on the camera. Maybe that sample's already been taken. It was sort of like a gray plastic,
Yeah,
that one. Here's another view of, I think it just takes a minute for the camera to.
focus.
Yeah. In this photo, you actually can see that the arms both float.
Oh,
Well, that's a nice looking one too.
Anyway.
What have you got, Eric?
just give me a second here. I've got a snazzy picture for you.
Oops.
There. Those are the ones we've got upstairs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So would we want to get a, you know, the same fabric? No. They aren't this yellow. That's for some reason we ended up with a warm white bulb above it, and those always make everything look yellow. The fabric looks generally more like this one over here on the left corner.
okay.
But it's been a very reliable model of chair for us.
And Eric, when you stepped away, Kathy and I both commented that, you know, they are quite durable. They still look great after 10 years and pretty comfortable.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, we just don't want to get more of the tables that go with them, just the chairs. The tables are perpetually losing legs, which is, you know, that is a classic fail as a table.
Yeah, I'd
The
say
legs
so.
can't stay on.
Now that I think about it, over the years before we started having meetings in the Spruce Room, we would all get together and move those rickety tables, and we were always dragging chairs all over the floor, and nothing ever broke, or we never had any difficulty. I mean, they're really pretty sturdy chairs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
without being sturdy, without being too massive as well. So
Yeah, I'd be
Right.
very, very much in favor of just going with that if that model is still available and picking a different
Okay.
upholstery.
Bonnie, what do you think?
I agree. I second, third, fourth.
All right. So that then is going to take us up to taking a look at, find the right tab here, at our end tables. Now, these aren't the
Do we need to
study
look
tables.
at tables that go with these study chairs again before we look at end tables, or?
You know, we don't have any samples that we've gotten to look at for those.
Don't, okay. Okay,
Now, we've just gotten in table samples. I need to get working with Megan to get at least some visual samples of the tables, something we can look at. Even if we aren't going to get like 3 or 4 study tables in here, which I get, they're bigger. That would probably be a challenge.
So Eric, in addition to this one,
Mhm.
there was there only one other option so far?
Let's see, there's that one, and there was
There
this
was that
one.
Mhm. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. And then of course there was the other one that we had looked at previously that left, but I don't think we had cared much for that one.
So, and I don't remember where we landed on, do we want these things to have casters that lock or no casters or?
I think if they do have casters, they need to lock. And I mean, just in terms of staff being able to move stuff around, I would lean more towards casters, but that being said, if the public has an opportunity to move something, even if it's not supposed to be moved, they will move it. So I would like to not make that super easy for them.
Right.
I think
So
one of the
yeah,
things that we had,
just go ahead, Eric.
I think one of the things that we had discussed was being able to move it over your lap if you were using a laptop.
Mhm.
And that wheels would make that easier. If we weren't going to do that though, my vote would be to make it heavy and immovable.
So I would say of the two, this was my least favorite. I thought it looked like a music stand that was flat and should have been moved up, and just the feet, you know, 2 of them are longer, or one of them's longer than the other, maybe so that you can roll it under the chair. I'm not sure, but I don't know. I can tell you my preference would be if I had my laptop with me, I'd put it on the table. I wouldn't put it on a small movable table like this. But the other small round one, I was thinking more for a bottle of water or your cup of coffee or, you know, your phone, that's where those things go. I guess a laptop at a pinch, like if you had to get up, use the bathroom or something, you could put your laptop on there too. But I'm thinking that there would be 2 tables in the room, one on each side, you know, for the lounge chairs, 2 tables. I don't think a table that's going to accommodate 2 laptops is going to make most efficient use of the space. So, you know,
True.
essentially, I'm not crazy about any of the side tables here, but definitely rule out the first one that was on display.
Yeah, I agree with Bonnie, pretty much everything that she just said.
you know, it seems to me when I looked at this one, it was pretty solid considering that there's only one leg, it looks like. It didn't wobble around a lot. So, and this one, the base is just like a flat, heavy plate, right?
Yeah, I think it's like a circle.
Yeah, yeah. And
I think-
so, you know, also from a design standpoint, you probably will do a square or a rectangle for the study table. So to have something that's not rectangular looking might just, you know, break up all of that, all of the rectangles in there. One.
Yeah, that's a good point because those armchairs are very angular.
Yeah.
So that would complement them very nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah, soften it up a little bit. I sent Eric via text. I sent you another photograph of this table that does show the base in case anyone wanted to see it.
Here. Just doing the moving stuff around, but there we go. There we go. Table now with base.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that's just, it's a little bit Jetsons looking, but I like it.
Okay.
And actually, it has a larger surface area than the rectangle one that Bonnie says looks like a music stand. I hadn't thought of that, but you're absolutely right.
Okay, so the round one appears to be our favorite at present.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So we've got some questions as far as arms and fabric options for chairs here. I will follow up with Megan at LFI on those. I would also ask that if you have not come in and taken a look at the laminate samples and the fabric samples to find some time to stop by and do that. They are currently living in the staff room because they are a lot more small and movable than the furniture is.
What is the laminate for?
Tabletops.
Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha.
So Cal hadn't gone through the laminate yet. She felt that we should settle on the fabric and then we could determine the laminate from there.
Anna has picked out a lot of favorites of the laminate with Post-it notes. So if anyone is interested in seeing a narrowed down selection, Anna has a bunch of Post-its in the laminate binder.
Thank you guys for doing that. That helps.
Yeah. So in terms of the process for today, I think our goal is to move ourselves forward towards making a decision. But with Cal out of the country, my sense is that we probably want to wait until she's back to make a final choice on the furnishings. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, we can certainly, say this is what we sort of honed in on as a committee. What do you think?
Yes, that is basically what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So that when Cal gets back, we can present, like, here's here's what we pulled together. We took your thoughts and feedback into consideration, and this is what we're looking at doing for the room.
Perfect.
And then finalize from there.
Do you have any idea, Eric, what kind of lead time how long it takes to deliver once an order is put in? Are they having supply chain issues like everybody else in the world?
They are. I don't know, and I will ask.
Yeah.
No, we'll find out. It's a question worth asking. In terms of some dates, I do know that we now have June 2nd set as our start date for work in the room.
Okay. So, yeah.
So that's been finalized. So that's exciting. It is going to be a little bit more protracted of a process than we had expected because some of the parts of the fireplace are going to be arriving mid-July. So the space is going to be, Jason is going to get the work crew in there to do as much as they can, which is going to be most of the work right off the bat in the start of June. And then there will probably be a few weeks where the space will just rest until the fireplace can go in.
Okay.
Then we should try to expedite ordering this furniture ASAP when we June or tells you back the end of this month, right?
Yes, she should be back within the week.
Okay, then let's, even if you just down with her and go over these final choices and Because I'm guessing a minimum 6 to 8 weeks ordering stuff, furniture. It's can't get close to-
Seems probable.
yeah. So let's get that rolling.
Hey, and Eric, in terms of a June 2nd start date, is there a alternative location for any of the computers currently in that space to be available to patrons? Even with all the furniture in that space, all the samples, I've still seen patrons using the computers back there.
We have transitioned to having people use the computers in the study carrels.
Oh, there are computers in the study carrels. Okay, I thought they were
Yeah.
empty. Okay.
There are computers there. People have still been going back to the room there. I think a lot of that was habit, that those have been there for years and years.
Yeah.
Most people just walk in and head back there if that's what they're looking for. So we've taken down the computers that were in there and seem to be doing okay making that shift. So we've still got those 2 computers up. We're getting everything out of there.
Mhm.
We are trying to see if we can donate some of the furnishings that we're going to be taking out of that space. You know, we're not really going to have a use for all of the old computer chairs that are in there, or the old computer desks that are in there. So just seeing if anybody wants them as a better option than just you know, chucking them.
Yeah.
So, okay. In church, I will ask questions and everyone will look at fabric.
Great.
And then we will talk at Cal when she gets back.
Sounds good.
Okay. So Katie, if you wanted to jet, I think that takes us up to our discussion of goals.
All right, thanks, Eric.
Okay.
Hi, Katie.
Katie.
Bye.
Bye.
That's fine. There we go.
You know, Eric, just as an aside, whether I don't know if it's worth the effort, but for those tables and chairs, if you ever, I don't know, wanted to advertise a quote unquote yard sale at reasonable price and put them in the booth room, and perhaps some patrons would want to come in and use them for a study center at their house or something. Just a thought.
We have actually had people, non-library people, who have contacted us at times in the past shopping off of that Rails board.
Yeah.
So, which they should, because there's nice stuff on there that libraries are giving away. You'd be impressed.
Interesting.
But yeah, no, worth considering in terms of wanting to find homes for things.
Yeah, the Park District did that years ago. They actually, when their lease was up on a lot of their exercise equipment, and they offered it up to the public. I think people bid, and it was just the largest bid in 10 days. And we still have an elliptical machine that we got then. And they moved it out and brought it to our house and lived happily ever after. And they did something with the money. So it's just a thought.
Cool.
I'm all for keeping stuff out of landfills.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know if the Montessori school, other places where we have agreements, if they might be interested, or
That's
Dickinson
a great idea.
Hall in Lake Forest might be interested, or
Sounds good.
maybe the
Yep,
History
well-
Museum when they move into their new building.
I love that when you say when.
Yeah.
And put it out there. You gotta put it out there.
Did any of you know, this is a little aside, that we received a pamphlet, a flyer, a booklet actually yesterday. It's Lake Bluff, Lake Forest Community Guide. It's vendors and restaurants and blah, blah, blah. And,
Mhm.
it had a picture of municipal buildings, and it had a picture of the Lake Bluff Library, which actually was a picture of the bricks and benches and the museum. So I thought, well, maybe this, at first I was kind of irritated that they took a picture of the museum instead of the library. But then I thought maybe this is just a portent of the future, that will soon
Right.
be.
Portent.
So maybe that's a good luck wish of some kind. So take a look at it if you can see it.
I did see it, Kathy. That's funny you mentioned that. Yeah, it was the Lake Bluff, Lake Forest Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Okay,
All right, goals.
goals.
Are these proposed goals or these are last year's?
Yes. Is the short answer. So we have goals that from last year that we're looking at, as well as goals, potential ones for next year.
Okay, I see. Yep.
So as a quick run through on the goals from last year, the aim to collaborate with the finance committee to complete the assessment of the facilities and the creation of the capital maintenance plan and timeline. That was discussed and was a project that was dug into in the fall. And the determination on that ended up being that we would be well served by working with someone with some engineering expertise to do that capital assessment. And we budgeted to do that working with Engberg Anderson this fiscal year. So moving forward with that one, work with Joe Huberty to plan and schedule the creation of a reading meeting room on the main floor. Boy, howdy did we.
Yeah.
You know, that said, as noted, work on that's going to start on June 2nd. The groundbreaking, as seems to be the vernacular, but hopefully no ground will actually be broken. Okay. The support for the capital campaign. You know, we're presently reframing that campaign in terms of the PNC building. Is my understanding. So
Which is
think
contributing
actually,
to the old goal anyway, so.
Yeah. I think actually the discussions on the floor plans, working with Joe here, probably a pretty solid contribution that making towards that.
I agree.
And getting that finalized. The parking lot, we have put up some additional signage there to reduce attempts by the public to use the lot. It seems to have helped at least a bit. We did identify a few of the regular transgressors in the lot, and some conversations there seem to have helped things.
Busted.
I haven't seen Tom Deckelman back there in a while.
The local food minister. That cracks me up.
So that's helped. Yeah, that was kind of a revelation when we all realized that we were nearly having collisions with the same white truck. It continues to be a work in progress. We continue to kind of bat around ideas as far as what to do back there. You know, most of the items that we ended up looking into, whether the speed bump or I think we discussed some sort of a gate as potential option and other things, have come with either a higher price tag than we were expecting or with potential issues.
And Eric, I think
the speed bump in particular was one we really dug into, and that turned out to be a potential issue with lot integrity because it would need to be anchored, and then a potential challenge as well with snow removal.
Right,
So,
right. And I know Kathy had mentioned, you know, there's also something about the aesthetic of what we want downtown and as a whole to look like. So the gate thing, you know, probably not the best option for that.
Yeah.
And again, when the wood building is, or when there's realignment of the public space, let's just say, you know, I'm pretty excited about the 41 possible additional spaces for the downtown as a whole. and for the library. Okay.
Indeed, it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. Okay, so any questions, comments as far as progress on any of the 4 goals that was set for last year?
No.
Okay, looking ahead to the next fiscal year, I think completing the cost analysis, working with Engberg Anderson to complete that capital study, is one item that's definitely going to be on the table. You know, I'll be working with, you know, Joe and Sean getting that completed, and then as a committee, Building and Grounds will, of course, you know, be able to sit down and look through that, you know, that information once it's prepared. And of course, the completing the cost analysis of the work on renovating the wood building for use as a library space is definitely one that's on the table. Those were the 2 that jumped immediately to mind as far as pretty clear items that are going to be targeted for work this year by a Building and Grounds Committee. I will open the discussion to any other thoughts, any other suggestions that anybody might have in terms of what other goals we might have.
So by number 2, you're referring to goal number 1 from last year. So the same, okay, the same scope of that. You might
Yes.
want repeat that language
Yes.
so that it's clear what it is a capital needs assessment is. Have we got an estimate on that project from Engberg Anderson?
Yes.
Okay, good.
We have a
What is it? Do you recall?
Not specifically. Let me check.
I seem to think it might have been 8,000.
Yeah, I was
And
thinking. And that's in the budget, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And Kathy, I further remember making a resolution or motion during a regular meeting that the finance committee review the budget to ensure we could spend it. And then I think they approved up to 10 grand in case there was, I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ringing any bells for you, Eric or Janie.
The concern was if we did it, but then after Eric talked to everybody, it appeared that it would be a project for this current fiscal year. So we didn't have to have any, we would have had to move money around from the reserve. So that wasn't necessary. So we're in good shape.
Yeah. And in my view, really the work that we did with, was it Lindsay? When we, she shared with us all of the spreadsheets and the way that she'd been tracking what was estimated to be replaced when, and the costs, and that was really kind of led to, okay, let's, Eric, like you said earlier, get Engberg Anderson in so we can have an engineer check the HVAC and plumbing and all that stuff. So I would add complete the Stroh reading room, with groundbreaking happening in June, and, ensuring that gets a nice splash of kind of publicity when it's done.
Yeah, because the way things have been with construction, I don't want to cast any, bad luck on it, but this could drive the, parts for the fireplace or this and that, the igniter. I mean, there's little teeny things that aren't showing up in supply chain. So that's something we're going to have to watch, and even just the furniture. So that should be a goal until it's completed.
Great. Yeah.
And then I'm going to just throw out another one, and also an opportunity for me to learn a little something, which is, this is not a new topic. I've mentioned it before, the generator, which again, if the library is expanded, the generator would hopefully support the entire building. How is it determined and who would submit a grant for that? Whether it's Illinois state or federal money for infrastructure, or how does that process get going?
Well, the grant itself doesn't need to be prepared by any particular staff member. Generally, it needs to be signed off on by an executive representative, which would usually means a signature from Kathy and or I, and sometimes the board secretary. But the person actually gathering the information and preparing the grant, you know, as long as we communicate and coordinate, you know, who that's going to be, and, you know, make sure that they have the information and details to work on, then, you know, really there hasn't been a limit as far as who specifically does that. You know, we aren't big enough that we have a dedicated grant writing position, though we've discussed, you know, possibility of Melissa getting involved in some of that.
Mhm.
So
I'm thinking here, just off the top of my head, if our wood building project goes through, an appeal to the village might be in order. I mean, we're delighting them with 42 parking space opportunities. We could also maybe delight them in the opportunity that the expanded footprint of the library could provide for an emergency heating and cooling opportunity and Wi-Fi opportunity for the village in the event of power interruptions. And, you know, another 3,000 feet is a lot of extra space for people to come in and put their feet up because their air conditioning's off or because their Wi-Fi is down. So,
Mhm.
yeah, anything to get, I think anything to get this village more involved financially in our commitment, the better. But it certainly would be to the benefit of the village. I mean, that's the whole point of it. So, trying to take that direction if possible.
I think that's an intriguing idea. The other thing that just like occurred, like when, as you were saying that, which it's going to seem like an odd association, but does our library ever host sleepovers for patrons? And with an expanded library, is that, I don't know if any libraries do, you know, museums do.
Right, right.
Wow.
you know, we've never done one. Most we've done is a sleepover for stuffed animals. So I think it's an idea worth digging into the possibility of. Challenge might be the staffing, because we would need to have, you know, good representation of staff here, at least some of them, you know, all night. You know, I'm thinking good opportunity for volunteers as well, bring in some volunteers.
Right.
It's
And I
probably
think-
not gonna be able to get a ton of staff. Like, yeah, I want to sleep on the floor at the library.
With a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
I think about it more in terms of like design of the wood building. Is that something we may want to design for? I think, you know, whether it's community engagement or the staff kind of consider all the other operational considerations for something like that. But
You know,
it would-
by having taught 7th grade for a lot of years and done everything I could do to avoid sleeping over and out there, I can tell you there is just one big undertaking to get into something like that. And as much as you plan, the one thing you never thought of happens. So it's a lot. If we could somehow not have it quite so extensive, but some kind of a sleep-in theme or something. I know my kids used to absolutely love going to the library in their jammies with their stuffed animals and curling up on the floor and hearing stories. So some in-between version of that would be wonderful. But I tell you, staying up all night with those kids is just no picnic. So
yeah.
I will pass the idea along. as something we can discuss and consider.
Okay. And
You know,
let's,
always looking for new ideas, and the sleepovers for the museums are certainly something people enjoy.
I know what it was, Kathy, is when you used the word shelter that made me think of it. Like an emergent, more of an emergency shelter, temporary, not overnight kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So what might be a way to capture that as a goal for our committee?
The sleepover or the generator?
No, the generator,
Okay.
the shelter.
Well, to explore grant opportunities for the installation of a
How about grant and funding opportunities?
yeah.
Well,
for,
yeah, I have written down grants, question marks, appeal to village as use of the library as an expanded community warming / cooling / Wi-Fi center in case of power outages. I mean, we already are,
that happens every year, you know.
right, we already do that, but this would allow us to,
Well, that we do that when we have power, which isn't always
Right.
always in partnership with the outages.
true,
This would be you know, your power's out for a couple of days, and you know it's running at the library, and the library's there normal hours, and you walk over and you heat or you cool and you watch a movie and you whatever you do. But it's just it's an opportunity for the village to provide an amenity to its citizens, which do suffer on a regular basis from power outages. I mean, I don't know if we know it's appealing. Bonnie, to your point, we've talked about this since Carl Schoens was on the board. It's just it's a dollar amount that we just don't have, but the need there, I mean, the need is rather significantly there, because I don't even think they have a generator at the public safety building. So there is nothing downtown.
Village Hall has one.
The village hall does? Yeah, but how
Oh
many
yeah,
people?
you can hear it roaring anytime the power goes out. It's practically the only sound downtown at that point. I think that with the upcoming work that we're looking at doing with the wood building, that there's an opportunity here for us to explore opportunities for funding and ways that might be worked into that plan. I think that the expanded potential use of the building that would go with the generator and other community shelter related fixtures or features would increase the usability of the building, increase the scope of things that the building could be used for.
The flexibility, right?
The flexibility, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And not finding. Thank you, Bonnie.
You bet. The flexibility and IT integration were like kind of the two themes, right? When we started off on the whole wood building takeover.
Okay, so I've got explore grant and funding opportunities for a generator and other community shelter fixtures and features. Does that sound about right? Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Any other questions, comment? The top two are kind of paraphrasy on my part, so I will flesh those out to pull down some of the details from the points above so that they stand on their own without referring back to previous year's goals.
great. And when you complete that, Eric, could you email me a copy of this? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay.
Oh, it's been a good meeting, a lot accomplished.
Eric, pardon me.
Mhm.
Do you have any idea when we're going to be talking to our museum friends?
You know, I don't know when our next meeting is going to be. I know that they're planning to go over there with with an architect over to the PNC building with an architect on Friday.
Right.
Oh, good.
Because Kathy McKechnie asked me to get clearance for that. I don't know how soon they anticipate having their
Yeah.
numbers. You know, my understanding from Kathy McKechnie is that they're trying to get this all done pro bono, all of their architecture work. And, you know, unfortunately, sometimes that means a longer timeline than, you know, working the non-pro bono angle. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Want to keep this moving. I want to keep this moving. We got momentum. We want to keep.
Yes, I agree.
Moving
So
forward.
to that end, Eric,
Mhm.
my neighbors here in Lake Bluff are both architects and they are both retired, I'm pretty sure, at least partially retired. And I
Mhm.
have a friend in Lake Forest who's retiring next month from her architecture job. So if there's a need, I'd be happy to refer those individuals on the History Museum can try to convince them to do some pro bono work potentially.
Actually,
Do you have-
one of the recently retired members of the Historic Preservation Commission is a former architect, and he spent a lot of time on the ABR, Architectural Board of Review. And so that's another possibility. So we're not without possibilities here, but that's good to keep in mind, you know, if they. It's nice to know that there's that kind of talent in town that might be willing to share their expertise with us.
Janie, is that John Caton?
No, John is not an architect. I'm talking about Bob. God, he lives on Prospect.
I know who you're talking. Yeah. I know
I'm
exactly.
blanking on his last name right
Hunter.
now, but Bob and
Hunter.
Eileen, I think.
No, it's Hunter, isn't it?
Hunter, yeah,
Yeah.
Rob Hunter,
Oh.
Bob Hunter.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah. Bob's a good guy.
He is.
Yeah, no, he's been the chair of the ABR since something like the 1980s or something. So he's been around.
Yeah.
He's been there long enough that most appearances we make in front of that committee, at some point he will mention that he bid on completing this building. So,
I never heard that story.
oh yeah. And he knew the architect, and he'll tell you about the architect and all that stuff too. So
Who was, I'd love to know that information. Find that out.
well, there you go.
Now I know who to ask.
Mhm.
No. We've had some interesting discussions with other committee members of the ABR, but Bob has always been, you know, knowledgeable and easy to work with.
Exactly. Yeah. I would agree.
He was never the one that called our bike racks an abomination. That was a great conversation. Okay, I think we've covered all the terrain that we had intended to cover for today. Bonnie, do you have Kathy McKechnie's contact info?
No, I don't. I don't know Kathy.
Okay. Why don't I send you her email address, and then
This is in terms of architects.
yeah, she's the president for the museum. That
Okay.
way, if
Actually,
you wanted, you could
actually,
just send her a quick email
as-
like,
As of last night, Kathy O is the president.
Okay. well, I will send you the email address for Kathy O'Hara.
But Kathy
Um,
McKechnie is still very involved, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or
So
do,
I'll send you the email address for Kathy O'Hara, and then you can just send it to her. It's like, hey, I've got a connection. If you're interested, let me know.
okay, Janie,
if you
should I
want.
copy you because you also have a connection or
Sure,
would,
yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
that'd be great. Thank you.
yeah, we'll do.
All right. Sounds good, everybody.
So I guess we need a
Motion to adjourn?
adjourn.
I will second.
Who moved? Kathy? Oh, did I make that motion? Okay.
I thought you did,
I'm
Janie.
sorry, I was muted again. I thought I moved. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Meeting is adjourned. Good meeting, everybody. We got a lot done.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a good
you.
day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.